everyone. And we have the pleasure today of meeting together Ramah Leith. And we did not know each other. We're in the same similar communities, and many of you know her dear sister, Melita. And that's how we've met uh, on the internet. And we just had the pull to let you join us in our meeting and find out what Rama does that we may want to know about. And we just met a few minutes before we started here today. And I found out she's doing a course which we might want to know about. So I asked her to start, and maybe we'll get a sense of who she is and what she does from the course rather than reading her bio, which we decided has too many words because she's so deep and so integrative in with different fields, and then it becomes a lot of words. So I want us to sense her and feel her work, maybe through this course that we have an opportunity to join. And the details will be in the show notes that go with in your email. But we want to hear from you, Rama. So tell us about this course. First, tell us a little bit of why do you do what you do?
Oh, such a big question. So I have not always done this. And I do many different things. So I'm a multidimensional healer, coach, ascension guide, teacher, speaker, summit creator. So I do many different things, but this was not my original plan. I was working more in the public health field. I have all these degrees in health science and public health and so forth. And I was really entrenched in that world for a really long time. And then I started having my own illnesses and things that were happening to my body that I couldn't find help for. And very entrenched with the medical community, all the vaccines and all the things that was all, part of my process and things that I felt you needed to be healthy and heal. Um, and that made me dive more into what else is out there to heal when the medical community wasn't able to help or wasn't able to address without, just wanting to give pharmaceuticals. And I didn't really want to go that route. And so I kind of went on a journey that opened me up to looking at alternative options.
What were your kinds of symptoms so people know the scope of what you healed and what you were looking into?
Absolutely. So physical pain, so intense physical pain, every part of my body hurt. And then also the emotional pain, depression, anxiety, worthlessness, no joy. So all of the physical and the emotional symptoms together. And when you go into see a doctor, they don't really know how to deal with all of that at the same time.
Did
So
they ever find a diagnosis for the physical pain?
there was, I mean, it could be many different things. So fibromyalgia, that was kind of one of the things I energetically got that I was experiencing. But because of all the anxiety and stress, just everything in my body had become really rigid and tight. So every movement hurt. I have had, and I'll kind of talk about this too, like when you have injuries, sometimes those emotions get stuck in those places in your body as well, which can then you can end up forming different kinds of ailments as a result of that energy going into those sites. I'd
So
had my entire body ran over by a truck. We're talking from my ankle all the way up across my chest and off my shoulder. My entire body broke my neck, cracked my head open, all the things. So all the areas of my body just were having so much pain, and so there really wasn't any way, but I was going to the chiropractor every week and trying to do all the things that I thought I needed to do to heal my body. And that really, none of that worked until I started looking at alternatives and said to my husband, I'm going to heal my body. I'm not going to go to any of these people anymore. And that was really the mindset that led me on this journey of being able to heal my body and open myself up to my abilities as a medical intuitive, which was something I had never heard of, had no idea of. This was all brand new to me. So, yeah, it was just really kind of working through how can I feel comfortable in my body and not be in constant pain all the time.
So some of us know a few famous people like Carolyn Meese, Anthony Williams, or William, and
Joe
they, even
Dispenza.
those two are entirely different from each other. So just for you, we discussed we're not going to try and define what a medical intuitive is, because as far as we understand, I think in the sentence or two we had together, it's different for each person. But what is it for you? What does that mean being a medical intuitive for you now?
Yeah. So, um, I think it's in the thing that I want to express to everyone is that everybody has this ability. So that we all have this innate ability to be able to tune into our bodies and through our senses to recognize what's going on. We just haven't been trained on how to do that. But this is something that everybody has the capacity
So,
and we're meant to do. So,
so breaking it down, let's say I have pain. If I'm just a regular person, just trying to go along with you on what you mean by know what's going on. Do you mean that, let's say, if I have a headache, that and I'm anyone, if we have a headache, we have the ability to go inside our head and ask the pain, what is causing it? What do I need? What is the origin? Am I missing any other things? Is that what you mean? That we
yeah,
have
or
that
if
ability?
it's energetic, if it's emotional, if it's even yours. So a lot of us are empaths and we pick up on the energies of others. We pick up on the energies
How
of
important what you're
the
saying.
quantum. So it could be many different things that could be, activating whatever that might be. It also might be just, what we might be consuming or exposed to, our food, if, different things that our bodies are not being able to energetically consume, that's causing
So
us to have
I,
physical.
I have some dear people on that will receive this that are, I hope this isn't kindergarten for you, but will not know what even you just said about the energetics. And these are probably the people that could most benefit from your work. So I would love to keep slowing you down if that's all right, and
Absolutely.
saying, what we know what psychologically means, we know what emotionally means because we live in the Western world. What does that mean energetically? You wonderfully explained it might not even be ours because we pick up from other people and other generations, and we won't even get into the past lives business. But because there's enough to invite people just here. But what does it mean to how is energetics different from the psychology or the emotion?
Um, so the energetics is really feeling into how something reacts in your body or something reacts, causes an emotional response, um, without having to have like I mean, it can have a physical trigger. So, like if you eat some food and then you have a reaction to that, then you can see that that has a physical trigger. But it doesn't always have to have a physical trigger. It can just be an experience that you're having, like maybe with another person, or um, I'm sure we've all experienced the thing we're thinking about somebody and then they call you, stuff like that, just that being able to have that connection and being able to tie that into your own body and being able to kind of read that energy. And I know I'm saying energy over again. So let me try to say it in a different way that makes that more simplistic.
Well, here's how it was explained to me about 30 years ago. I went to someone who was very gifted as a physical healer. And I was told he was an energy healer. I was a psychotherapist. I had no idea what the word meant.
Yeah.
I knew that when I laid on the table and he put pressure on my back, not a lot, just his hands, a lifetime of tears passed through me. And I asked him, what does energy meaning? Is it psychology? And he said, no. If someone comes up to you with sexual energy, it's not about what he's trying to do or she's trying to do, or about her past or his past or the future or dynamics. It's an energy that's palpable that we can all feel. And I thought that was pretty good because it doesn't actually have the words, but we recognize it. We all know if somebody's coming up to us with aggressive energy, we feel it, we know it, we react, and yet we don't know anything about their psychology. We don't know anything about their emotional life or their history or anything, their personality, but we know that energy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we are all energy. I mean, we are made up of energy. Just like what your example, you walk into a room and you can feel the energy of the room. It's palpable and we can feel that. And with the energy medicine type things as well, like what you experience, that is moving the energy, which is we have blockages a lot of times is what's causing the pain and things that might be going on in your body that's causing, the discomfort or the disease. And so with energy healing, you can move that out. You can move it out of the chakras, you can move it out of the physical organs, and it's just imbalances that
Can
are
it
creating a
change?
blockage in that flow.
Can it be an intervention to anxiety?
Oh, yes. I feel like anxiety, because like I was saying that was something that I went through too, is also tied into not feeling connected to all of these things. So
Mm.
not connected to your higher self, not connected to your energy centers, not connected to your body, not being fully in your body, because we have so many feelings about being angry with our body. We've kind of tried to disconnect from it because we are, so many of us experience that pain, that we are separated. And that is really causing a lot of people to be in anxiety and depression because we're not fully aligned and feeling comfortable in our soul, in our body, in our soul, in our own energy.
So let's say I'm a person, uh, I weigh 250 pounds. I am not an ideal body size. And so I have all of the issues that society judges me on. I eat too much, I'm unacceptable. And I have the emotional, psychological, shame, and it's contagious. And I feel guilt because I never eat the right foods. I go to nutritionists or functional health people, and they tell me what to eat, and I don't eat it. Where do I start?
Yeah, the most important thing is to work on the shame and the guilt. Like it's not even about the food in those kind of situations. The food is just kind of masking other things that are going on often. And it's more getting down to the root of what's causing the emotions that are kind of causing all the other things to take place. And again, like I was saying, like with the pain in the body and all those are just symptoms of not being in alignment with with our flow, with our natural flow, with the divinity within us and our alignment to our life's purpose. A lot of us feel disconnected from our purpose and it can come out in many different behaviors. You know,
Yeah.
drugs,
So
alcohol, all those types of things is
how
really
can a
a part of that.
course help me? I want to focus in on the course you're going to offer in July.
Yeah.
And this isn't a promotion. I mean, we're happy if it promotes it, but what I want to do is really deepen the offering to show what could I, where could, how could I start by taking a course? Or do I need a healer who got me to cry and release? Or do I need somebody to work on my chakras? Or you mentioned energy fields and energy centers, and then my spiritual life. Yes, of course, I'm this person who hates her body, so of course I must be spiritually disconnected because I couldn't hate myself if I was spiritually connected. These are all interwoven. And I'm just responding as many of our listeners would, who would desire to have the results, but are also are a little bit skeptical. Like, how can I fix everything? There's so much wrong.
100%. I totally understand where everyone's coming from if that's where you're at. It's not, I mean, it's not a one and done. Obviously, there's going to be things, there's lots of layers that needs to be looked at and worked on and explored and moving into all those different areas where we can work within the quantum, within the multi dimensions. So many different areas, as well as the physical body. So the course that I'm offering is called the Awakening Soul, which I think would be, maybe great for this group if this is all brand new to you, because we're looking at how we can move into that energy. So it's the Awakening Soul moving the 3D body into the 5D flow, and that's 3D.
What does 5D flow mean?
It's the fifth dimension, and the fifth dimension and 3D is the third dimension, which is what our bodies are in, and a lot of us are in right now, which is really dense and heavy, and a lot of fear based. And then the 5D is more about love, higher consciousness, being in tune with our bodies and our own energy, and just being able to feel connected to all that is. So it's
Mhm.
really just more of a
About
breathing into
raising
that
our
higher
frequency,
consciousness.
right?
Okay.
It's about raising our frequency.
Raising our
And
frequency.
if these words are not familiar, if you're very Western professional and frequency and is even dimensions, 3D, 5D, those are unfamiliar words. We do know that when we're in unworthiness, it's heavy, we're
Heavy.
slumped, and that when we're in laughter, that it's lighter. And that's all we're really talking about, that people have put scientific numbers on the different energy levels and emotions, and they can be quantified to just describe them, not to say I'm at 250 now and oh boy, I'm at 400 now. You know, that isn't the goal. The goal is to, I think, you tell me if I'm right. The goal is to understand duality, that this outer world is a dual place where we'll be up and down, but that is not who we are. So when we extricate ourselves from the reactivity, we immediately are now in a different dimension, because we're not what just happened and we're not the feeling, but we are the body um, that is embodying all of that, that is where it's showing up. So it's kind of a way, it sounds to me like what you do honors all the levels of our experience and puts, for those of us who are new, puts names on it words on it so that we can then identify it in order to let it go. It really is helpful to know that feeling is shame, and that is not me. And if I add with my thinking to that feeling, now I'm starting a spiral, which is now going to be held in my body. And now what do I need? Tell me what I need next if I'm there. I've noticed shame spirals happening, and I'm with my awareness ready to stop. Would I go to breathing? What would be your direction in the course? What would you tell it? How would you teach from there?
First, I want to say that was well summarized. That was perfect in just explaining all of this and this process. And thank you for summarizing that. That was beautiful. Um, so for the course, we that is a big part of it is when we are in this reactivity, which I'm glad you used that word because that is such a big part of what a lot of people are experiencing right now, which then pulls us off of our center and goes into that emotional charge. And often that can be fear and shame and guilt and all those type of emotions. Um, so within this course, we focus on that. We focus on what's pulling you off your center. How can you align to being in a higher vibration? How can you bring that energy into your existence? And a lot of that is through gratitude, through connecting with your body, through the words that you use when you are talking to yourself, talking to others, forgiveness work, all those types of things. Even just our words, we say things in a way instead of saying what we want, we say what we don't want most of the time, and just being able to change that narrative and being able to say the words we want. I want to be healthy instead of I don't want to be I don't want to be unhealthy. But saying the positive can really change that frequency and change that alignment. So we do some of that. So talking about how you go into those different ways to bring in that positive energy and to raise that vibration so you can experience more joy. A big part of a lot of people, and this was my experience as well, was having so much fear, anxiety, maybe past trauma, where you've built up heart walls and then you don't even feel joy. Like you don't feel fun or happy or any of those things. So we work on how can you break down those heart walls to let in that love and that joy and that expression of, all the beauty around you. So that's a part of the course.
How do you do it? Do you lecture? Are you the main teacher? Do you have breakout rooms? How do you do it?
Yeah. So I am the instructor, and there are 4 sessions. So there's many different things that we cover. Each session has different topics. It is right now there isn't a plan for breakout rooms. It will be probably a smaller-ish group of people that come in that are really motivated, and this is something that they're really interested in changing in their lives and want to be able to do it on their own. Um, so it is a course. It's 90 minutes each session. It's every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And in that time, there will be, some PowerPoint discussion as well as the discussion, as well as people being able to share their experiences and, going through the different steps and different suggestions that people can be
Oh,
using.
um, if if I tune into what might be our typical listener here, they've been around the block with forgiveness. They've been around the block with gratitude. And yet, I know you know, and I know because of we wouldn't be talking about ascension if we didn't know there is another layer beyond the gratitude list. Everybody knows the gratitude list. You've been around the block, somebody's had you make a gratitude list, you do, or you have an Oprah book, or you have a diary, you have a journal, and you list out, I'm grateful for my husband, I'm grateful for this chair, I'm grateful. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mhm.
And that's not what you're saying. I'm intuiting that breaks down the heart wall. I love that expression. Rama, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Who here
There's this,
doesn't have a heart wall that needs to come down? Like
and it's
that
so
always our
interesting.
hands, right? And and we've been taught more and more to have these walls to be successful. And then we say, oh, but I'll be hurt. Oh, but this person will take advantage. And that's exactly where the forgiveness comes in. It's not about forgiveness. What if we change the word? I don't know what it would be right now. Maybe it would be the story. What if
Hmm.
if the story that I come up with next, okay, I'm this person, and I just said, uh, I can't take my heart walls down. They're going to yell at me and they're going to come in and they're going to push me around and I need to be ready. And you could say that's unforgiveness about this person. But what if I, in this moment, just say, story, not made up story, but that's my take on this person.
Hmm.
And what if I held that differently? We're not saying he's going to be different. He's not going to yell. He's not going to be the way he was, because now we're in a tug of war. And there's no, I can say, I forgive you. I can write the letter, but never mind, it's not going to go any deeper. But if I am, you said these people are motivated. If I am motivated to feel more connected, if I am motivated to to break out of this heart wall just so I can feel something else besides what I've been circulating. Now I'm ready to come to you and maybe redefine that word appreciation or gratitude. Maybe I actually haven't felt it before. If I think it's about the things, the gratitude list that we've all made. What if it's not that? What if it's about being? Could I actually be grateful for this next breath? Is that
Beautiful.
the kind of doorway that would help me?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and with the gratitude list, yes, I know a lot of people do that, affirmations, things like that. But if the emotions and the picture of seeing that in the future is not fully in your presence in that experience, it makes it more difficult as well. So bringing in all of those aspects of you, and that's really hard to do when you still have the heart walls up, because it's not even about the other person, it's about trusting yourself, and trusting yourself and believing that you're worthy enough to have that experience of being in the state of whatever you would like to experience. So it's really kind of tying all of that into the gratitude and to all the experiences that you're having. And yes, the story is we all have one. And the problem is if we get stuck in that story and see that is our personality, like our personality is, I have this illness or I've been through this experience, and then that becomes who you believe you are, and you can't see beyond that. That's where we really get stuck, and that's where all those emotions kind of gather in our bodies and become our reality, which then becomes our personality, and then that's who we express ourselves as. And so we're really trying to break out of that to let you know that you have other options to live a
Mm.
different kind of life if this is one that's not feeling comfortable to you.
So I would like to go back to something you said. because I've said it before, and this is what clients have said. And so I would love for all of us to hear your next sentence. So I've said, when we have trust issues, it's really about we don't trust ourselves.
Mhm.
And here's what the client said. Yeah, but I didn't show up for my grandchild when that happened. So how can I trust myself?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting chills with that one. Um, we have to, that's another thing where we have to forgive ourselves and we have to realize we did the best we could at the time with the information and the presence that we were in at that moment. And that's another way to forgive yourself and to forgive others. If you look at that situation as like they were doing the best they could at that time with the information, the knowledge, the state they were in at that time, because that kind of diffuses that. But if we can't forgive ourselves for what we didn't do perfectly, because I'm definitely on that spectrum of perfectionist, I'm a one, so and a helper too. So I go into that like, oh, I didn't help well enough. And then there comes that guilt and that blame. And we really have to forgive ourselves and know that that was an experience and we did the best we could at that time, but that doesn't define us or move us forward in our destined direction that is not going to be in a positive way.
Mhm. You know, Rama, there's something I do, and I wonder if you do it too. When I feel like a word in just because of my background and maybe perfectionism, where let's say I've done forgiveness, 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 and there I am noticing, yeah, this is another unforgiveness, changing the word because of the inner bully that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna not do well with for trying to forgive again.
Hmm.
What if I do you change the word on yourself sometimes? Like, go from shame to unworthiness and from or unworthiness to not enough, just to enliven your present experience with the energy or with the situation if the old word has baggage. A lot of people have baggage on gratitude and forgiveness because they've been around and it didn't work. They so-called tried it, but the dynamic is still true.
Hmm.
It's just the word and where they were with it. So, what if when in this situation where the person said, I didn't help my grandchild, what if we focused on the inner bully there instead of forgiveness?
Hmm.
And they're maybe not ready to come to present time with breath or to say, this is a new moment. We're bringing it's the bully that keeps on repeating that because you didn't succeed before, this isn't going to work. That's a bully. That's so mean. We would never say that to our precious children or grandchildren, at least if we were in our right mind, right? That isn't what we would do, and yet we do it to ourselves.
Hmm.
Would that be useful in your work, or is that too psychological, the bully?
Um, I think no, I think it just comes at like what you were just saying, like how if someone else, it kind of reframing and looking at it, like if someone else told you this is the experience and you were seeing that through an innocence lens, or you were, talking to a child that maybe had done something and to show that compassion, that same compassion that you would show to someone else that maybe had a similar experience or had been something like that, to show that compassion to yourself. So
Mm,
maybe that's another way to frame it is just to kind of like, how would you show another person the love and the compassion and all the beautiful expressions of being there, supporting them, that you could then reframe and put that into your own experience.
And would someone else deserve mercy and another chance?
Absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
beautiful. So
Yes.
tell us some more. We would if we came to your course, or if we you do individual sessions, right?
I
So
do coaching.
yeah.
So yeah.
Do like you said, it's not one and done. So do
Correct.
people come for a package a certain number of times, or
Mhm.
how does it work?
Yeah, so I have 3 month packages and 6 month packages. It's in every other week, and we work on different things. So, what's coming through for you as well, energetically that I'm feeling even before we have a session. And then I also work with the clients on what's going on with them at that moment. It's not counseling at all, not even kind of a
What's
little
the
bit of
difference?
counseling,
What's the
not at
difference?
all. So I'm not giving you any advice on your marital issues or, like none of that stuff. It's really dealing with what's going on, that we can peel away the, like the onion, and get down to the deeper issues of what's kind of causing some of those imbalances or dis-ease or whatever might be happening that we're needing to work on. And I also do the functional nutrition as well. So I do help people if you don't have a clear vessel, it's really hard to, when you're in pain, when you are not able to receive that energy that's coming through, it's really hard to feel connected. And so I work with people on that too, because I know a lot of people have food intolerances and other things that might be causing them to have different issues. So we work on that as well as the energetic. So bringing in the energetic, bringing in the food, the mind, body, spirit, just all of that is combined.
So does everybody get the food part, or do people only get the food part if they're in physical pain or if they have dietary issues? How does that work?
Generally, when I do an assessment, so I go in and I'm looking at the chakras, I'm looking at the organs, I'm looking at all the different things that are happening within their body, within their system, within their energy. And so if I'm finding things, then we go through and say, like, is this a physical, consumption of something, or is it something else that's going on emotionally? So, kind of tune into those different aspects of it. A lot of times people come and they talk about like their food as well. And so I do also check in with different foods they're eating to see if they are working in alignment with their bodies. So some people might have issues with gluten, some people might have issues with grains, some people might have issues with the nightshades, or a whole different variety of things. And so I help them figure out and flesh out maybe some of the things that are causing them to have that weight gain or retain that water or have inflammation and things like that that could also be causing a lot of their symptoms.
And can you do this online as well as in
Yeah,
person?
everything's online, so I do everything through Zoom. hmm
So how do you do it? How do you check the physical online?
That's such a fun question. Because I know people are like, what do you do? You're so used to going to a doctor's office and having them do an exam on you. Everything is energetic. So I tune into your system. I tune into your system through the quantum, and I ask your body questions. We go through the meditations and so forth, and I tune into all the different things that are happening. We do not need to be, I don't even have to be on a call with you. If you want me to check on something, I can check on something without even having to be in front of you on a screen. Like we are all connected in that way that we can tune into each other's energy. And that's what I'm doing. I'm tuning into your chakras, turning into your organs, turning into your energy. I might be tuning into past lives or, all kinds of things can, be a part of
But
that, but you
can
do
you
not have to
tell
be
me
in
something, anything, no holds barred, even if
the
it's
Paul's bar. It's
tell me
everything.
something about me that people would, because this is a great test. Rama doesn't know me except from, musings on Thursdays, right? We've never been anywhere together, is that right?
That's true.
So we've never met. Can you tell me anything about what I eat or what my energy or anything?
So what I would say is what I need you to do is ask me a specific question. So like generally I go through a system of putting people into a meditation, and I call in the guides and angels that assist me. And with that process, they show me things and I tune into the body and ask the body questions. So I can't really do it like just right here unless you have a specific question, like you say, do I have, like, is gluten something that my body can digest? And then I can tune in and answer that question, but I can't go just
Yeah.
blank.
Okay. So
Can't do
I'll
that
ask you
like
a
this.
question. Sure. So I'll ask you a question. I
Sure.
have what some people would call an addiction to caffeine.
Mhm.
But I've been told that my kapha body type does well on caffeine. My blood sugar got regulated, the A1C, after I upped my coffee much more with high-fat milk, and it took away a big desire for chocolate and sugar. And though I sleep really well because I probably overdosed but used melatonin, so I sleep really well. Sometimes I talk a little too much because of the coffee, but talk a little much in that I might interrupt a guest when I could have let them talk longer. But other than that, I don't have any issues, but it is what some people would call an addiction. I have to have it. If you take it away, I'm going to be unhappy.
It's an emotional addiction. I mean, and you might have,
And physical, it would be physical too,
yeah,
because
because you'd
a lot.
probably experience
Yeah.
some headaches and not enjoy that. Is there a question that you
Well,
have?
I'm asking you, that's my take on it. Do you have a different take on it? Like, is it bad for me? Should I be working on it, having it less? Should I change my story on it?
So I'm going to tune into your field right now. So this will take a second.
Okay, take
I
your
rub my hands together just to get into the still point, to get into that
time.
quantum so that I can connect with your energy. So that's bringing me into my body and into this. So it's bringing, and then I connect with your body. So I ask, if I'm Rosalind, I'm connecting to your body. I'm getting a yes. Okay. No? Okay. So now ask me specifically what question you want me to answer.
Should I be lowering my coffee? Do I caffeine intake? Am I missing how it would be better for me? Maybe this isn't my best, or is it? Is it good for me?
Okay, so the funny thing is, I wish you wouldn't have gone into all of that as much because now, now it's they're gonna go, well,
Sorry.
that's why she said it. But I'm actually getting the coffee is fine for you. And everybody's body reacts differently. So I'm getting the coffee that you're taking is fine. It's fine. You're able to sleep. It's not causing you any other imbalances. Let's see. For it enhances your mood. It enhances your physical activity. It enhances your, yeah, it gives you energy. I'm not getting that you need to have less of it. I'm also getting that you could have, I'm getting that you could have about 2 cups of coffee, which is 8 ounces. So like a 16-ounce coffee or two 8 ounces would be probably optimal for you. So you don't really need more than that. Yeah, that's what I'm getting for that. So I don't see that that's a problem. And coffee is actually has a lot of health benefits to it as well. So yeah, as long as it's not causing you any other issues like high blood pressure or anxiety or any of those types of things affecting your
No, I'm probably a little less patient than I would be, but I try to monitor that.
yeah.
I think people really, besides your answers, which of course I love because I get to continue, probably wouldn't have stopped anyway. I just would have been guilty.
Yeah, we don't want you to feel guilty. Yeah.
But I think people would probably enjoy what they saw, how you go to a different space.
Mhm.
Because we could say, Oh, I go to a different space, but that's different than watching you do that. So I'm so glad I asked you to do that. And this has been a real gift. Uh, what else? mm, d- I know you do so much on so many levels. Is there anything else you would like to share? We're going to put how people can find you on social media. We're going to put your contact information. You're going to send me also the course link. Um,
Absolutely.
but is there anything else that you would like to say to someone, particularly that has been burned, where they took coaching or they took a spiritual class and been promised and feel burned? They either feel like the teacher let them down or that they were not a good student. I think there are many people wandering around feeling like they spent their money on things that didn't work. What would you want to say to invite them maybe to look at that feeling differently?
Yeah. I get it. I totally get that. And I think that so much of it has to be, you really need to be ready and you need to believe you're worthy. Until you have that experience of like, I love myself, I can make these changes, and I'm worthy of having the life that I desire, they're going to come across walls no matter who you work with. It's going to be difficult, because it's really everything is an inside job, as we all know. And people, you can have coaches, you can have healers that work with you, and they can give you tools, they can give you insights, they can give you all these things, but it's really you are your own divine healer. And that is really where it's always going to be. You don't need us. You don't need all of the other people. It's really something that you can do on your own. And that's why in this course, The Awakening Soul, I'm giving you all the tools to help you break free from thinking that you need to have outside influences, the medical community, the coaches, like all of the people that we go to fix us, that we actually don't need them. I mean, we do if we're in a place where we still don't know how to get there and then, need the tools, but we all have that innate ability in ourselves to be what we want to be and to thrive in that environment. But it's really breaking down those, peeling the onion, breaking down the walls, all of those things about the unworthiness, the shame, the guilt, all those low vibration energies that are keeping us stuck. But we all have that ability to be in that state that you are desiring. And so that would be my thing is find someone that resonates with you, find someone that you trust, and then, do what you can to be in a state of alignment with moving forward and letting go of those heart walls. I mean, it's really about the heart walls. You got to break down your heart walls and believe that you're worthy and loved and the universe is supporting you. And then anything is possible.
I love that. And for those who again get stuck on the loving of the self and those that are trying to know that there is no separate self,
Mm.
would it be enough to feel I love life?
Yeah. I mean, even just like walking out in nature and just being in love with nature.
Is that enough? Because if that's enough, more people are qualified. If
Yes.
if it's a requirement that I love, especially a separate me, a lot of people can't come. They're not qualified. But if you love the breath, if you are thankful that you are alive and
Mm,
you want to experience 100% a new moment, I think you're qualified, right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. And I also want to tell people that our emotions are here for a reason. We're in a body. We're here to experience everything. So not to feel guilt around your emotions as well. Like let your emotions flow. Like we are here for this experience. And it is a gift to be able to have emotions and to not suppress them and feel guilty about them or, like I'm not, I'm too much or too little or whatever the case might be, but just feel into that you have an experience where you get to experience anything and everything that you want to and have emotions for that. And that is amazing and perfect.
Yay. I think we'll end with that. That's so lovely. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for trusting that this would be a place that we could have a great conversation. And I think we did. Thank you so much, Rama.
Thank you so much.